Thank you Goodnotes for sponsoring today's video. I used to be an engineering student. Now I somehow run my own business. Yeah, life is crazy. For the longest time though, I had stopped using Goodnotes because, to be fair, it was an app that was mainly geared towards students. But now things have changed. And if I was to go back again in time and replace my MacBook with my iPad, I would have the craziest note-taking setup ever. I remember during my bachelor's degree, I was like the biggest advocate of digital note-taking. In fact, I once got told by my software design teacher that digital note-taking was useless. But I found that pen and paper always felt like I was wasting time. Like if I messed up, right, while I was writing, I had to erase and rewrite. Plus, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I felt super limited with the amount of sheets I had, with the books I had to carry, with the binders I had to carry, like all these things that you have to carry around with you. It gets messy like really quick. And don't get me started when it comes to submitting pen and paper work electronically. I used to scan my assignments page by page. Like I remember once I had this whole HVAC system project where I had to audit an entire system, and I had to literally submit a massive formal report for it, and I had to scan page by page by page. So you could literally imagine my reaction when I first got the iPad and I had to do something similar. I just thought like it was literally the best tool in the world. And at the time I thought my experience with it was amazing, but now looking back at it, traditional note-taking with the iPad was really all about mimicking pen and paper without truly enhancing it. Don't get me wrong, it still diminished the amount of stuff you needed to bring around by a lot, and having everything digitally was amazing, but searching through handwritten pages was really slow. Converting handwriting into editable text was a thing and not really a thing. It was accurate but not really accurate. Juggling between apps for math, flashcards, or planning just became a mess, particularly before iPadOS 26, where the iPad didn't quite measure up to a laptop experience. So without smart tools and a good OS, I feel like the iPad was more of like a note-taking device rather than a productivity hub. Now, if I was in school right now in 2025, wow, I would be killing it. Like, you got note-taking apps like Goodnotes offering things like handwriting, spell check, and word complete, search across everything including handwritten notes, AI math assistants, audio recording synced with notes, an infinite whiteboard scribbled to erase. It actually makes this really good for school, and even better for your business if that's what you want to use it for. Because the reality of things is that I feel like that's how AI is going to be shaping the app, which is something I was able to confirm with Steven, founder and CEO of Goodnotes.
I think looking ahead, I think what we really want to position Goodnotes AI is the best assistant in the world, no matter what type of content you're working on, whether it's on a whiteboard, whether it's a document or notes, and then we can truly be the best assistant as your thinking partner to really accomplish any task that you want to do.
But there's one really important thing, and I think it's all about getting the right iPad for you. And for most, I think the iPad Air is the best. To be honest, it's what I actually recommend most people getting. I've always said this, but I feel like this is the Mercedes of iPads. I feel like over the 11th generation, it is worth the extra money, especially because you're getting the 120 Hz display and you're getting the laminated screen. Plus, you're gonna get the extra nits as well, and a much more powerful chip like the M3, where Goodnotes will process a lot of its AI features locally on the device. But don't worry, the 11th generation will be just as capable because developers made sure to optimize for it. In fact, it's one of the questions I asked Steven during our interview.
Yeah.
So I guess you guys are running part of this AI model on the cloud, but also on the device, right?
Yes. So for handwriting recognition, for document indexing is on device, but for large language model, which we use for Goodnotes, for Goodnotes AI, so we use third-party providers, but we are very strict about privacy. So we always want to respect user privacy when we leverage these AI models. So the goal is to create the best user experience, help people solve their problems, but also respecting user privacy.
Right, and how do you guys achieve that exactly?
So we do as much as we can on device. We only do what's absolutely necessary through these server-side AI models, and then we want to be transparent in terms of what we use, what we share.
But M3 is important because aside from this, you want to make sure that you have as much power as possible to really multitask and future-proof that workflow. With this, I do have to say that I have the 256GB model, and it's what I'm starting to slowly recommend, mainly because the iPad Air is now a tablet that is very, very capable. So if you want to start wanting to get into some creative stuff, gaming, wanting to have access to your files while being offline, plus the way that software is now being developed, I don't understand why 128GB of storage is a thing on a base model tablet with an M3 chip. Now, if you want, okay, with this, you can always get a case from Amazon, have one that can protect your pen as well as store it. And I know that the new pen has Find My, but it's nice to have a case that keeps that close to you, and a case adds a bit more chunkiness to it just because, you know, you'd want to protect this. The iPad Air is just like so freaking thin. One thing I do hate though is how if you have the 2nd gen pencil, it won't work with iPad Air M3. You actually need to get the 3rd generation pencil because M3 just doesn't recognize it. Anyways, just keep that in mind. I know it sucks, but keep this in mind. And then I feel like you can always slap some paper-like on it if you'd like. I used to love my sheets. I actually used them a lot back then. The one thing you do need to keep in mind is that after a certain while, they start to get all nasty, so you might need a replacement for that. With your setup, an iPadOS 26, which was just released, the incredible thing here is that you can make your iPad feel like a laptop. Window management is a feature that you will most likely want to use with your note-taking app. For example, if you open Goodnotes and you drag the bottom right corner diagonally, it makes multitasking with multiple windows smoother and more effortless than ever. You can move that window as you wish, resize it however you'd like, open another app and do the same. If you flick left or right, they automatically snap for a split view. It's really cool. Everything you need to do is literally like at your fingertips, and apps like Goodnotes allow you to still use them without a problem whether your window is floating or not. On top of it, you now have dedicated window icons like on your MacBook. If you slide the top, you now get a menu bar, and apps like Goodnotes implement their APIs in order for it to be useful. The entire window management within iPadOS is extremely impressive. It makes productivity and just note-taking more useful than ever. But if you want your note-taking experience to literally be like it used to be before, Control Center does offer this option where you can enable or disable window mode. Aside from this, while you're in window mode, most apps also resize instantly as you are dragging your finger. Not all of them, but for the most part, a lot of them work super well. iPadOS 26 also offers a new PDF viewing experience, of course, Liquid Glass, and a new Files app, which is a lot better this year because it's easier to navigate files, get a bit more information about them. You can color code your folders, add folders to the dock, although folders that live in a media server do not implement this feature, so keep that in mind. Now, why do I mention the Files app as well? Check this out. Say you have a Google Drive with your school where a lot of you share notes within, assignments, tutorials, and so on. You can download your files from the drive, put them within your Files app within any folder you'd want, and literally as you're multitasking with Goodnotes, you can drag your assignments into it and go on from there to complete them. I think iPadOS 26 just makes this sort of multitasking experience extremely easy, and it makes the entire thing feel like a computer but with a pen. But where things get really interesting with iPad is with Goodnotes. iPad is starting to become really popular among students, yes, but even more popular with people that value productivity. And this is an app I've always used as an engineering student, and now I want to use it for the business. Look, I think that note-taking is the best way of learning and capturing information because it reduces the cognitive load on the brain, making it easier for you to process and remember information. And if you have the right app to deliver that experience, it really makes all the difference. like Goodnotes, which has absolutely tuned not only its synchronization with the Apple Pen to perfection, but it offers up-to-date features like long press hold with the new pen. And regardless of AI, it's clear that Goodnotes always prioritizes the writing experience.
So I think handwriting using stylus is core of Goodnotes. So it's absolutely our top priority to always make sure that experience is good, no matter what features we're adding, whether it's AI, whether it's some other features. So we always have a really high standard to make sure that stylus freeform experience is really good, even though when we continue to improve Goodnotes.
And then with tools like these, taking notes as someone talks takes far less effort. But here's the kicker. I don't know if you guys have ever thought about this, but when you're note taking and you're copying down sentences word by word, you're not actually processing what you're writing down. You're literally just transcribing that information. You're not organizing it. You're not thinking about what you're writing. It's just not processing. So you want a tool that helps you capture only the keywords and concepts so you can focus on understanding the ultimate purpose of the message being delivered. And a proper note-taking app will literally build tools for you to do that. And I think it all starts with having a proper filing and organization system. So if you can go as far as creating custom folders with custom covers, integrate extremely custom paper, have a text document feature with AI capabilities, have an infinite whiteboard, which by the way is a feature that is complex to implement, and plenty of additional tools that make your workflow easier, this is what will allow you to focus on the work itself rather than just writing it down. And just the fact that you can record your meetings with Goodnotes is just insane. And there are times that, I'm in a meeting and I'm just like zoning out, and then I come back to it and then I don't even know where we're at. But while Goodnotes records those meetings, you can check out a live summary to see what you missed and just get back on track, which is wild. Plus, I can just have the app summarize everything if needed. Now, aside from this, palm rejection is something that is extremely important, and I think Goodnotes do it really well, whether you are writing within a floating window or not. And I find it really satisfying to see all the tools they've built into their notebooks, like stroke stabilization, for example, to help you out smoothen and even your strokes as you write. You also have a pencil tool that responds to the angle of your Apple Pencil and the strength of your strokes. There's also this tape feature to hide content of your notes to help you study, but my favorite one is Scribble to Erase. It just cuts time, and time is what you need when you're writing down notes and you want to process information. Like, do you know how insane it is not having to switch to the eraser every time you make a spelling mistake? You just literally scribble the word and it will delete it. And then Smart Ink is another feature that can allow you to spend less time on the act of writing a word and more processing the information that is being relayed to you. For example, Smart Ink is enabled via the lasso tool, and you can treat your handwriting like editable text. You can resize it, change colors, changing it to text if needed. So if you find yourself wanting to sort your written notes quickly without having to erase and rewrite them, as well as maybe color code them, this is the easiest and quickest way to do it. And underneath of all of this, there's a lot of AI involved. With the help of the M3 and its neural engine, AI allows you to really push your notes even further. And the cool part is that Goodnotes uses your handwriting as the base for its AI. Although one of my biggest questions was, I wonder how they see their own AI model fitting into Goodnotes. Like, could it help with things like smarter diagrams, tutoring, or making notes easier to navigate?
So this is where I'm also very passionate about this technical aspects of Goodnotes. So we have our own in-house models for doing handwriting recognitions or for doing handwriting, what we call synthesis, which is used for a spell check feature. But also, how do we analyze the content in a document into something useful? So we are bundling all this together to create a kind of the bigger AI system to empower the experience you see in Goodnotes AI.
So it's safe, it's on device, and it makes your notes cleaner, smarter, and way more useful. Like, check this out. Ask Goodnotes. It's a tool that allows you to create with AI while staying in control of your notes, and this lives as an assistant within your notebooks. It can answer questions, summarize content, and interact with content intelligently. Like if you feed it a PDF of maybe something like a marketing campaign report, it can go through it and brainstorm an entire plan of action for you in the best way possible. And you can add this into your whiteboard if needed. And whiteboards aren't just a tool for you to have a bunch of freedom. Research on spatial memory shows that spreading out notes in a physical space helps the brain create mental maps. This makes it easier to remember where certain ideas were placed compared to linear pages of text. And whiteboards make it easy to add sketches, mind maps, or clusters of keywords. I think this encourages active processing rather than passive transcription, right? Which is known to strengthen your learning and comprehension. Plus, Goodnotes AI also learns your handwriting style and corrects typos or suggests autocomplete in your own script style, something that is processed locally so your M3 chip does all of that for you. Math Assist is also a big one if you need it. It's able to recognize handwritten math and converts it into rendered equations. It can solve problems and demonstrate the steps it took. And it now includes support for matrix operations and dynamic graph generation. The point here is to understand what the iPad and a proper note-taking app can do for you. And I took it even further because as a long-time user of Goodnotes, I gained a much deeper understanding of Goodnotes thanks to my conversation with Steven, the founder and CEO of the app. Hey.
Hello, Andres.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good. Very nice to meet you, by the way. Huh?
Yeah, very nice to meet you too. You have a very professional setup.
Thank you. Yeah, we tried. So Steven and I had a bit of a chat, as you guys saw, but there were some really interesting questions I was able to ask him, like, do you see Goodnotes moving more into collaboration, like shared whiteboards or group learning, and how could AI help with that?
Definitely. So we actually launched collaboration for a couple of years now. But I think that the new whiteboard is even easier to collaborate with your colleagues, your classmates, because now you have a space that you don't run into each other. You can have your own space to write. So, but like for example, for PDF, we also support collaboration for a number of years. So definitely we'll continue to expand on our collaboration capabilities. And then we also see Goodnotes AI being an assistant to that. So that AI can help you do many different tasks from creation to review to editing for you.
Right, so you can have like whiteboards, collaboration, and Goodnotes AI all in one. That would be really cool. Honestly, aside from education, I feel like in the regular world, like for example, I'm currently just finishing up my house. I feel like having Goodnotes on for me and the contractor would be super easy because I can show him things on one side and he can just go ahead and annotate on the other side. I feel like it would make and save so much time. It would be so cool. Yeah, I mean, these are just ways I can allow myself to use the app on the regular basis, which goes also hand in hand with what Ask Goodnotes can do. And a lot of you guys seem to enjoy it.
So I think one of the reasons why people use and trust Ask Goodnotes is that it grounds its answer in the document that you're viewing, whether it's your notes, your slides, your documents, so they always provide a citation to refer back to your own documents, so it doesn't hallucinate. So I think however like vague or material your topic is, it always grounds itself in your own material. So what we are learning is that our users felt the trust in Ask Goodnotes, and then we want to bring that to our Goodnotes AI as well. So with the new Goodnotes AI, what we want to do is to equip AI with even more tools at its own disposal to create content, to co-create with users on top of just answering. So Ask Goodnotes is mostly answering or creating quiz for you, but now Goodnotes AI truly becomes your assistant, basically.
Right. The last question I asked was, what were the biggest challenges in building your own AI model? I feel like if I was to build an AI-based app, that's one thing I would struggle with.
I think the biggest challenge is for Goodnotes, we often work with unstructured data. So people's free-form handwritten notes, unstructured drawings, and then documents they imported. How do we make it available to the AI so that it become really useful? And then how do we use the latest technology in AI to create unstructured content? So this is really, I think, is the frontier of using AI. And then I think we are one of the first to integrate that experience into a free-form canvas.
So this is really how you can take notes with your iPad effectively for any sort of work you want to get done. A big shout out to Goodnotes for allowing us to make this video. Remember, I will be giving away 10 codes for free subscriptions to Goodnotes, so don't forget to drop a comment down below for a chance to win. Again, a special thanks to Steven for setting aside time for us.